Hello, howdy. Today's topic will be a beginner's guide. We will be covering weight bias. Get out your notebooks. I put my Wawa in the freezer and now it's too thick. Okay. First thing, we'll cover weight bias. So that just to be clear, this is a beginner's guide. So this is primarily for those just getting into it, right? So let me be clear. Weight bias. So in general, you are going to want a little bit more weight towards the front of the truck. How much? You can play around with that, right? So a general idea would be like 65% weight in the front. Try to get a little bit more weight towards the front. How can you do that? You can run different brass accessories like knuckles, steering link, diff cover. You could run brass links in the front and carbon fiber links or aluminum links in the rear. You can run brass rings in the front, aluminum rings in the rear. You can run like wheel hex weights, like the ones that look like little brake discs in the front, and then like some regular like aluminum hex extensions in the rear. So different ways to get front weight bias. They also even make servos in brass. I have one in the Carbon Menace, right? It's in that one, right? For the sake of video, we'll say it's in the Carbon Menace. I think it is. I can't remember anymore. So there's a lot of different things you can do to make it bias towards the front. Side to side, however, you are kind of shooting for 50-50 there. The best way to do that, honestly, is get a set of corner scales, and it'll tell you what this side, what this entire side weighs, what this entire side weighs, front to back, side to side, each corner. So you'll be able to kind of dial that weight in a lot better if you have a set of corner scales. Next would be towards the bottom. So on a truck like this, the more accessories you put up here, that's not necessarily helping. Like, it's adding more weight, but it's adding weight, way up high. So in general, you want the weight to be as low as possible. Some cheap ways to do this: if you're not running a super heavy rig, and you're not running foams, fill the tire about halfway with BBs, and as the tire spins, the BBs will just kind of keep rolling. And what's nice about that is that it always keeps the weight in the absolute lowest point, which is below the axle shaft. So that's like the best spot to have weight, right? Is, as low as possible. Um, so weighted accessories that would go down low would be, you know, your weighted wheels. You can get wheels in full brass. You can get um, weighted hex extensions. You can get you can buy pretty much everything in brass. You can buy, like I said, entire brass axles, um, weighted knuckles, or like the low blow knuckles kind of style, like the tungsten tiaras, basically, like to where it hang, like if you're running 1/8, it'll hang way low. Um, so in general, you kind of get the idea. Weight as low as possible. And if you're adding accessories up here, you kind of want to think about compensating for the weight that you're putting up here by putting a little bit more weight down there. So that's pretty much it with that. Let's see, hard body versus Lexan. What looks better? Hard body. 10 out of 10. Hard body always looks better. You get more detail, more sharp lines in the body. Everything has a lot more depth and detail to it. It has its flaws, though, being a hard plastic. This is much heavier than what this body is. So the hard body giveth and the hard body taketh away is the moral of the story. The next two kind of subtopics of weight bias are a little bit, not more advanced, but a little bit more advanced. So first is going to be rotational weight versus non-rotational weight. What I mean by that is so we'll get the stainless 24 and we'll grab this chassis. Okay. Make sure it's in shot. So here, this is a full brass wheel. Very heavy. Actually, I lied. These aren't brass. These are aluminum. Pretend these are brass, right? Okay, hang on. These aren't brass either. These have brass rings. Alright, hang on now. I know I've got to have some full brass wheels around here. Those? Hang on. I think I got some over here. Okay. These are, and in fact, full brass wheels. Whole wheels brass. This is good to get your weight down low. However, thinking about it, your motor is spinning the drive shaft, that is spinning the gears in the differential, that's spinning the gears in the portal, that's spinning the axle shaft, that's spinning the wheel. If the item that it is spinning is less heavy, everything can work more efficiently. Does that make sense? So in such a scenario, something like this, which hopefully I can get in frame. I don't know. But you see these knuckles. So those are, there we go. That might be better. See, these knuckles are mounted, or these weights are mounted to the knuckle, like, you know, to the hub. So those stay stationary and the wheel spins around it. So the wheels are pretty light. These are a stainless face, but comparatively speaking to an all brass wheel, these are very light. On the Carbon Menace, it has carbon fiber wheels, very light. So you get the benefits of that that low weight bias that we were talking about, right? You want the weight as low as possible, but you get to avoid the not a hindrance, but you know, it works. Everything can work more efficiently if what your motor is spinning is lighter, you know, in the end, you know, in the drivetrain. So hopefully that made some sense. I guess another example of that could be your drive shafts, right? So they make full brass drive shafts. I have some, and I'm sure they work perfectly fine, and they will add some weight down low, which is good. But again, it's a give and take kind of thing. It is more weight that your motor has to twist. So you know, in my mind, the less weight that your motor has to twist allows it to work as freely and as efficiently as possible. So that is my scientific thoughts about that. Next, are we learning anything yet? I hope so. Next is the last kind of subtopic on weight bias is going to be sprung weight versus unsprung weight. Pretty simple. Sprung is going to be anything above the spring, you know, anything mounted on the chassis itself. Unsprung is going to be wheels, your axles, which includes your steering links, anything like weight hangers, like for your axle. Man, you hear that Jake brake? Includes anything like that. So basically anything on the axle wheels is unsprung, and then anything, the body, the chassis itself, the electronics, you know, the motor and all of that is sprung. And unsprung weight is better than sprung weight. So when adding weight, to just be mindful of where you're putting it and how that will make the truck react. So if you are adding more sprung weight, you will get a little bit more body flex, a little bit more roll. You know, it'll be a little bit more on the top heavier side. Um, the optimal goal is low unsprung non-rotational weight. Alright, this video is getting a little bit long. I think we'll just leave it on weight bias. Please subscribe. I feel a sneeze coming on. Can you see it in my eyes? Until next time.